Team Clinton. Team Reagan. You go first.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Okay. Should I like stand up?
Yes, go to the judges. Go right next to the train.
Okay, I'm gonna come over here. Okay, so I'm gonna start with a question. Who would you want as president? Someone who lied under oath about preying on an intern 27 years younger than him and wouldn't have handled the situation any differently? Or would you rather have someone who is loyal to both to death to both his wife and the United States? What if someone had the chance to both capture and kill bin Laden, but was too caught up in his own scandals to do anything about it? Would you pick them, or would you pick someone who broke the Soviet Union and ended the Cold War? Reagan got us out of one of the deepest economic ruts of U.S. history. What did Clinton do? He got too much credit for helping the economy, when in reality, Reagan was already making the economy thrive with all of the policies he instituted. I guess the only bad thing about Reagan is he fixed too many problems. So Clinton didn't have anything to do. So Clinton decided to go play around with any woman he could find who wasn't his wife.
Yeah, just a minute. Okay. Next.
Bill Clinton is the best president politically, economically, and socially because if you look at it socially, he raised education standards and made family leave possible for people in the workforce. He addressed the HIV and AIDS epidemic that was present all throughout the nation by making funding available to search for a vaccine, something Reagan refused to even acknowledge existed. Economically, he left the country in a surplus, something all other presidents failed to do, including Reagan. Reagan doubled the U.S. deficit. When Bill Clinton left office, the U.S. was in a $128 billion surplus. He provided 2 million new jobs and decreased the poverty rate by 11.8%. Politically, Bill Clinton appointed numerous women to the top government official jobs, such as Janet Reno, the first female Attorney General, and Madeleine Albright, the first female Secretary of State. He passed numerous gun violence bills and bills that protected the environment, and above all, did not negotiate with terrorists. Overall, Bill Clinton was a better president because during his presidency, the nation thrived politically, economically, and socially. He left the country in a better possible state it could be in, and if we had a president like Bill Clinton in office today, our nation would be more secure politically, economically, and socially.
Okay, you guys get a minute break. Team Reagan, you're close to the door. You guys are outside. Okay, reflect on opening statements.
Hey, what do you guys
Discuss with each other.
You guys are like writing down
Your
notes.
thoughts are, remember, take your bias out of it. Okay? Off the argument, you do a better job.
What I gathered was Clinton only gave higher jobs.
I'm going to start off with
Gonna keep going with that Cold War thing already. I can feel it.
Okay, communism was on the fall before Reagan even came into office.
Well, and the whole thing was saying bad about folks about
Clinton was his relationships.
It's there were bad things about at least he didn't rape somebody.
Yeah, we can start off with how many presidents have been accused of sexual misconduct.
How many?
You have that, at least
No,
20.
no, that's Donald Trump.
Oh yeah, that's right. Kate goes off on Donald Trump.
Yeah.
I have that somewhere.
I don't want your knowledge of anything. I want based on the argument. Your knowledge is going to be biased. Don't be biased.
Okay, so I feel like, do we want to start with the economical side of things? Who will start this part?
We could start with the economical.
Okay, well I have, so the budget surplus of 128 million, dropped unemployment from 7.5% to 4%, created more than 22 million jobs, poverty dropped to 11.8%.
I do think you said 200 million jobs though.
Formal, I like 2 and 2.
Yeah. I'm gonna put one for Reagan, just to even it out.
All right. Smartphones, smart reason. You guys can have them out. Okay. You can do fact checking, looking information up is all good. Right? Notes in front of you. You need to get involved. Remember, if you don't talk, that's going to hurt your team score. Okay? Everybody needs to participate, okay, to get that 20 on 20. Winning team, it's 5 points extra credit put onto that project score. Okay, your notes are 10 points, and you've got a team score here. Okay? All right, here we go. What is it? Clock's running. Raise your hand and talk. Raise your hand. Trent.
Okay, so in your opening statement, you brought up the AIDS epidemic. Well, first of all, the AIDS was under-researched when he was president, so if he was to side with that, he'd be going against something that wasn't completely researched, which would affect his credibility. And then the majority of people didn't really want to associate themselves with homosexuals, so they didn't want, they wouldn't have liked Reagan to side with that. And you could say it's morally wrong and all that, but isn't it also morally wrong to sleep with other women besides your wife? And isn't it also morally wrong to let 800,000 people die in Rwanda?
Okay. Now remember, it has to be inclusive of everybody in the group, or at least people who did not need to do it. So I'll let you return.
Okay, so Reagan deserves no credit with AIDS because he did absolutely nothing. He didn't acknowledge that AIDS or HIV was a disease. And back to the women, let's talk about what Reagan did in 1991. An actress, Selena Walters, came forward and accused Reagan of showing up in her home at 3 a.m. and forcing himself on her. I'm pretty sure that's sexual misconduct as well.
Yeah.
And with the Rwandan genocide, if you let 800,000 people die, that was in a month. But in a matter of, when Reagan sent troops to Lebanon, two car bombs killed 241 Marines in a matter of no time whatsoever.
Okay. Abby.
I like to go off what Isabel said. Clinton was accused of rape in 1978. He groped a woman without consent in 1993. He was accused of sexual assault in 1980, and then he was also accused of exposing himself and harassing a woman in 1991.
Did you hand up yourself?
Not really.
Okay.
Also, how do you call your president a socially successful person who has sexual intercourse with anything that has 2 legs and long hair?
Can I ask the name of that girl?
Her name was Selena Walters.
Marshall.
Let's see the fact that he said how Bill Clinton such a bad president because he had sexual relations with how many girls. Because normally other presidents have had sexual relations with other girls, or well, not just sexual relations, been accused of either rape or anything like that.
No, I need to hear more. I need to hear from everybody. You guys are spreading it out. Kale.
Donald Trump alone has been accused by 22 women of sexual assault.
Olivia.
What Marshall said, yeah, other presidents have, but they never went on the stand, testified under oath saying, I did not have sexual relations with that woman, and he lied about it. He lied about it to the whole nation. Under oath. So, that's worse than anything. Perjury.
Let's do it.
Just because Donald Trump had rape allegations, that doesn't make it okay for Bill Clinton to have, how many? That doesn't make it okay.
Spencer Isabel.
That's not the point, though. We're saying is that not just Bill Clinton had sexual relations with other women. We're saying multiple presidents have.
Isabel.
You want to talk about Bill Clinton having his sexual relations? Okay, that was a gray area in his presidency. Let's talk about some gray areas in Reagan's. I'm pretty sure he dealt with terrorists. He negotiated with terrorists. That was against the law as well. So your president is no better than our president. Your president is worse.
Andy.
Our president did it for political reason. He actually stopped communism, which is a very big deal. He prevented us from going to World War III. And also politically, what was I going to say? I don't know. No, but
You guys in the back row, you can't just sit there. You need to figure it out. Okay. Izzy? So I've got a bunch of Isabel stuff. Izzy. Isabel?
Mess me up.
wait, where's Trenton wanted to go?
Okay. Marshall.
You're saying how he ended communism. Communism was already on the fall before he was even president.
No.
Jack.
Like what he said about Reagan negotiating with terrorists. He did it to help our country and make it a better place. Yeah.
Okay, so you want to talk about the, the women and all that in their lives. Well, your president was almost impeached because of it, but the only reason he wasn't impeached was because Congress was wildly Democratic at the time, and they didn't want the president to get impeached. And also saying he didn't he might not have directly ended communism, but his doubling of our spending broke communist economies and brought them down, so helped.
We're going to go one more each side, and this round is going to be over. Okay? So you two need to figure it out. Okay, Isabel?
Okay, so Iran is directly linked to terrorism. And I'm sorry, like when I think of terrorists, I picture not good people. And I'm sure everybody else in here does not view terrorists as good people. So Ronald Reagan directly negotiated with terrorists, and Iran is directly linked to terrorism. It had violated the embargo and a couple other laws, and he sold more than 1,500 missiles to Iran. And then Reagan lied about being involved and said, no, I wasn't involved in the Iran-Contra affair, when in reality he was, and directly negotiated with terrorists.
You guys didn't figure out what it was going to be. Okay, go.
Oh, okay. Well, you want to it might have been illegal, but what price would you hold an American life to? Would you hold it to breaking the law to save an American life?
4 American lives?
No.
4 American lives?
Time. That concludes round 2. We have breakthrough. Hopefully save it's round 1, that's round 2.
Great, so this one right
I think Clinton saved more than 4 lives.
Yeah, let's talk about all the lives Clinton saved. So
You gotta talk about that. Yeah, the
Well, okay, so they were wrong about, during his impeachment, there was actually 55 Republicans.
You have to. And you have to discredit that, but you can't just discredit it. You gotta go on the offense.
well, we need to
Economy,
move on
economy,
past
economy.
he
They're
slept
just
with
gonna
her,
keep
he
doing
You gotta
slept
get
with
past
her.
that. That's like a sinking ship or whatever that is what it is. I would move to the economy. That's what I would do. Talk about deficits.
22.
Talk about
He made
in
22
history,
million jobs.
People, you gotta stick on that stuff.
He actually lowered crime rate was lowered by like 26%. That was at its lowest ever since like 1979.
Isn't it Reagan saying?
And then when I talk about all the lives Clinton saved, he didn't go to Rwanda. Think about the American lives he saved.
In a matter of a couple days.
And hey, they're saying somehow like they did that before they saved American lives. Say that we're not going to Rwanda to save a lot
What's our
of
debt right now?
American lives.
Like 20 something
Somebody
trillion.
look it up. What's our debt right now?
So, Ronald Reagan increased the budget by 186%, adding 1.86 trillion. More than 22 million jobs were created by Bill Clinton. Dropped the unemployment rate from 7.5% to 4%. Budget surplus of 128 billion, and poverty dropped to 11.8%.
Okay, what I think we should start off with is we should raise our hands first and we should go over to the judges and be like, okay, so let's think about the U.S. debt. The U.S. debt right now is $21.7 trillion, and then you just go from there. And you explain to them.
So you are so
It's different last time.
Yeah, I get it. Yes. No, this one right here.
Yo, we also
That's
have to,
about the budget.
We also have to
of,
remember NAFTA, North American Free Trade Agreement. It removes all tariffs between
All we
U.S.,
have
Canada,
is
and
that Bill
Mexico.
Clinton likes sex.
Yeah.
Good for him. I'm pretty sure every other person on the planet probably likes sex as well.
NAFTA was the largest. NAFTA was the largest trade agreement in the world.
I mean, seriously, let's sit here and ask every single teenage boy on that team and say, I'm sorry.
Well, it has to do with women, so.
Yeah.
I don't think you're gonna have a knowledge breakdown. I think that's all I have to say about that.
Well, it's.
What? So I shouldn't say that?
No, you cannot. Okay, sleeping with women is probably repopulation. I'm sorry. That's biology.
Get away, Cade.
That's bad. That's bad for personally.
What?
Coach Kim, we're getting this grant.
Just because he.
Just for your price points, yeah.
That is for poverty.
So,
You guys aren't ready.
Formal. No, stick with formal. Last debate, no. The last few debates.
Yeah, you have to open up the board.
I'm in charge, I can do whatever I want.
Formal. Open doesn't work.
I think the last one.
Last one should be
for
open.
sure.
Yeah.
This one will stick formal. Yeah, make any executive decision on that. Okay. Isabel.
Okay. Please scratch me out, please. Okay, so the debt rate now is $21.7 billion. That's like a lot of debt. And like odds are your kids are gonna have to pay it off. You're gonna have to pay it off. So when Bill Clinton was in office,
Be respectful. No, you can't talk. They're up. Cut them out. Talking's for out there.
when Bill Clinton was in office, he gradually paid the debt off. He balanced our economy, and when he left office, we were in a surplus of $128 billion. No other president in the United States since they've been in office has ever had a surplus. Bill Clinton is the only one. And if we still had a president like Bill Clinton right now, he had a plan that by 2013, we would be debt-free. Here we sit in 2018, and we are definitely not debt-free.
Okay.
Oh, I'm going? Okay. Will Bill Clinton sit back and watch millions of people die back in with 9/11 happening? Would he not do anything like he did with 800 million people dying in Rwanda, or 800,000 people dying in Rwanda in 1 month? Would he just sit back? Oh, I'm not gonna do anything. I'm just gonna abuse every girl I can find, hire people to abuse them more and more.
Tim.
Okay. For one thing, name one guy who doesn't like sex. Okay. We're not going. No, I'm just saying you can't put that on him because every guy does. It's natural.
Next topic. No more sex talk.
Right, I got to end that. We discussed it, okay? And did I end that topic?
Okay, we're done with that. No more of that. Done. Okay, Marshall.
You're saying how so many people died in Rwanda, but there'd still be a lot of deaths if we did go there because all the U.S. troops that went there, I bet there'd be a lot of them that died too.
Oh. Let's strip.
He still let 800,000 innocent people die, but and not doing anything about it. And I'm like, that is something that I wouldn't be able to get off my consciousness, you know? So like, I think that's pretty bad. You know?
We'll go Jack and we'll come back over here.
About what Clinton did to the economy, didn't Ronald Reagan set him up for that? Didn't he do, like, with all those, like, with, what do they call them? He put in those laws and stuff in place. I don't know which one, not the laws, but,
Reagan definitely did not set him up for that. He increased the debt by 186%. That's not setting it up for better.
Okay, Spencer.
Even after he increased the debt by 186%, Clinton was still able to make more than 22 million new jobs. He lowered the unemployment rate, which was at its lowest for 30 years. He also had connected 95% of the school with the internet, so that way everybody would have more knowledge. And he's also lowered poverty rate, teen birth rate, and infant mortality rates.
Okay, so you guys wanted to talk about how with the Iran-Contra affair, Reagan saved 4 lives. Okay, 4 American lives, fair enough. When Bill Clinton decided not to go to Rwanda, he saved a ton of lives. In World War I, the casualties were
418,500.
in World War II,
436,516.
in Vietnam,
58,220. 24,412. Iraq 4,424.
So those were the American casualties and all those wars together. If we would have gone to a war in Rwanda, think of all the lives that would have been lost. So Ronald Reagan wanted to save 4 lives by negotiating with terrorists. Bill Clinton saved millions of lives by not going to Rwanda. So we are not the United States of Rwanda and America. We are the United States of America, and the United States of America needs to take care of the United States of America before we go to Rwanda. We are not the help everybody nation. Like, that's not our job. And I just want everybody to think about all the lives that Bill Clinton saved by not going to Rwanda.
Sure.
Bill Clinton was a coward that didn't want to do anything about anything except keep his budget at surplus. He didn't want to save those lives. He didn't want to do any of that because he didn't want his reputation to be tainted by saving lives. He wanted to be known for keeping a surplus. Reagan, by increasing his national debt by 186%, he prevented World War III, which was an estimated 80 million to 180 million people dying, which would have been thousands, if not millions, of American lives even. That's way more on a scale of saving 400,000 lives, 400,000 lives, 58,000 lives. Let's times that by a large number. Times it by a lot. And that's what Reagan prevented by increasing his debt, because he wasn't a coward that thought having his debt as a surplus would matter to him as a person. He thought saving more lives would matter.
Bush.
Yeah, what Trenton said, he increased the military spending and we didn't go to war, and he saved all those lives by not going to war.
Mandy?
Also talking about who's the better president, I don't think the better president here would be one of 2 presidents in U.S. history that has been charged for impeachment. He wasn't actually impeached, but he was charged for impeachment, which is really not a good thing.
Okay. Let's go with Kip, then Gottschalk.
Clinton created 21.5 million jobs during his 8 years in office, and unemployment dropped from 7.5% to 4%. He wasn't just known for his surplus, as he said.
Gottschalk.
Reagan's administration had more documented corruption than any president in U.S. history.
Okay.
I'm going back to Spencer about the computers. Clinton did not create computers. Charles Babbage did almost 300 years before Clinton introduced them to anyone. So he did not control computers. He did not make them. He just introduced them. Whatever.
We'll go online. Spencer, Kale, Isabel. We'll return fire.
First of all, I did not say he created computers. I said he connected over 95% of American schools with computers to fill the students with knowledge and information that they can attain easier.
Okay.
So you said that Bill Clinton was a coward because he did not go to Rwanda. So when Ronald Reagan took office, he took office after Jimmy Carter. Jimmy Carter left the nation in total distress. So Ronald Reagan came in, everything was handed to him, and he was a coward because communism was already on a fall. Communism was on a decline, and Ronald Reagan was in the right place at the right time.
Okay. Tim's going to get his third. I'll be the last one for this team. These guys then get 3. Tim.
Okay, so you're going off of not sending people over to Rwanda to save the people, but if I remember correctly, during my project that we did last, Reagan pardoned people who skipped out on in the draft, draft evaders. He pardoned them. So what does that tell me, and what does that tell you? That he doesn't care if they did that.
Okay, so we've got 3. Olivia.
Isabel, you said that communist was already on the fall. He brought down a wall. He literally brought down a wall. That's the one thing he's not. That's the most that is the most okay. Anyway, the one thing Reagan, the quote that he's known for is, "Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall." Your president lied on the stand and said, "I did not do that." He got us out of the deepest economic rut ever and helped Clinton. Jimmy Carter, basically, I guess you could say he ruined the economy. And Reagan put so many policies in place that it built it up, and then he got down, and then your little President Clinton came, and he got too much credit for it when half of it was already being fixed.
Down the line, you too.
Okay, so first of all, not sending people to Rwanda, that's not the only thing he didn't do. He didn't do anything with Rwanda or Bosnia or any of that. So, you know, saying he didn't just send soldiers there because, you know, saving American lives, he didn't do anything. He could have sent money. No. Reagan prevented millions of lives being killed because he used money for that. He used his money for that. And you're talking about Reagan had stuff handed to him. He had the worst recession in history handed to him by over 50 years of Democratic control in the government. Over 50 years of Democrats created the greatest recession in history that Reagan had to fix, which he did fix because he spurred domestic growth, gross domestic product, and the economy grew 4.6% in 1983, which was the second year of his presidency, 7.3% in 1984, 4.2% in 1985, and he reduced unemployment just like Bill Clinton did, not to this, you know, whatever, was it 4%? Can you fact check me that? 3.5%. The lowest that Reagan had it was 4.4%, I believe. So, you know, they both reduced the unemployment rate. Like, you have that, but, you know, like, he did good things too with the economy. He helped it grow by, you know, the 4.6, 7.3, 4.2%, all within 4 years. And that's just you know, he didn't, it's not like he left the economy in a crapper after he left. He left it in a better condition than he found it. And it was because of 50 years of Democratic control that it was in the crapper.
You talking about that, Reagan had everything handed to him. He had nothing handed to him. Jimmy Carter was like one of the worst presidents like to ever strike the face of the earth. Reagan created 18 million new jobs, like brand new jobs. He came into his presidency with a 70%. He had a 7% tax rate. He reduced that to 28% by 1986. So that's literally set up your crappy president to do literally anything. He paved the way for Mr. Harasser to do anything he wanted, just like he didn't do anything he didn't want.
Okay, great. Last round coming up.
Mr. Harasser.
Here's something you gotta go with. So Bush's dad, actually look up the unemployment rate when Clinton was elected. Okay, it was a mini recession. They're saying that Reagan set him up for prosperity. That's wrong, because Clinton took over in a recession. That's the reason he got elected, because things weren't that great under Bush. You know what I mean? Okay, that's what you got to stick with. They're talking about 50 years of Democrats. Well, that's wrong too, right? Okay, that's a wrong statement.
They can't just say that Ronald Reagan, he spent money to save the nation. No, he spent money on a bunch of BS policies like Star Wars.
He spent money on the military-industrial complex. He was influenced by lobbyists. You know what I mean? That's why he spent money. He was politicized. Bill Clinton, what did Bill Clinton do? He ticked off his own party by cutting welfare. He ticked off his own party by going towards the center. Okay? And he wasn't influenced by the lobbyists because he knew what was important was balancing the budget. Okay? And trying to set that precedent, which no one's done before.
Where Bill Clinton reformed it and was like, you have
he reformed it and helped it. He did more of a conservative approach to welfare than most conservatives do. And he helped people. That was right. You don't cut people, you help people. People are working, you help them. You don't completely cut them off. He moved towards the middle. He modified it. He fixed it to the point of what Reagan and Bush couldn't do. So there were 12 years of Republican politics on welfare, and Clinton made it better. He ticked off his own party. He fought against the lobbyists. All Reagan did is listen to lobbyists to get the Star Wars defense going because the military-industrial complex is real. Okay, Clinton knew that. That's how he set the country up for success, and then George Bush took it over and ruined it. So Are you going to define someone as being a great president by having sex with women? Or are you going to define someone for being a great president by what they set the country up to do for generations to come? And the precedent was set. Things were set up to be fantastic, right? And because of the sex scandal, it wasn't anymore. Today, people look back at sex scandal because all they care about is the economy. If Bill Clinton was president today, he'd be widely popular because people would move past that. It's 2018. It's not.
Oh.
You're like, oh, whatever.
Okay, there'll be somebody new.
So, I think it's got to stick on that stuff, right? I talked a whole bunch there. I do. Your team score is not very good right now. Daquan, if you don't talk, you're going to hurt your team score. I'm here to tell you. Okay? You can't just sit back. You got to say something. All right?
I'll say something about the welfare.
Okay, and I'll make sure, you can stick your hand up, I'll make sure it happens. Okay, you can say things, right? So cutting spending, deficits,
lowest crime rate in 26 years.
With Clinton? Was it really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. You guys are having some good discussions.
That he is way more. I need to understand that. No, Gene, that, okay, you need to understand that Gene is like something not
all because of his sanction on apartheid.
Hey, Reagan cut welfare, right?
Yeah, Reagan was like, nope, bye.
I'm gonna say Reagan cut welfare, but Clinton brought welfare back, and it's still helping people.
Yeah.
Okay.
They already like gave reasons for the deficit.
This is just like an open one, so that like anywhere.
I think so.
Yeah.
Clinton had a anti-crime strategy and up the policies.
I'm not saying that.
Okay, so open, and I think the best way to do open, test things out, is to stand up before a talk. Now, when someone's talking, do not be a rude a-hole, okay? Let them finish what they're saying. Make eye contact, body language to figure it out. Now, and again, we want you guys to grow up and be able to discuss things, not just shout and be immature, okay? So we want to be mature, where you can authentically discuss things.
I need another piece of paper. I can build up my.
Let's give our judges a round of applause coming in. All right.
Love you, Tony.
Can't say.
Yep, no, that's fine.
No, minus point.
It's open. I'm just gonna put check marks down.
So Clinton took over in a mini recession. So when Clinton took office, the United States is not in a very good economic state. Clinton took that and he set up the economy, he balanced budgets, and he made it so that if we still used Clinton's policies today, we would be debt-free. Whereas Reagan, he was influenced by lobbyists, he was influenced by the military-industrial complex, and Reagan did not just spend money on military, Reagan spent money on Star Wars, and where is Star Wars now? Star Wars was never continued, didn't do anything. So we spent all that money with Reagan on nothing.
You have to stand up, son.
I was gonna say, you guys said that Bill Clinton did nothing and just covered up, but he helped to get former Soviet nations to give up their nuclear arsenal. He also worked with NATO to help bomb Serbia, how do I say it? And I don't know how to say his name, but Slav, whatever his name is. His ethnic cleansing campaign. Then he sent 20,000 troops to enforce peace in the region, and a mission with no American casualties.
Okay, well,
I think 2 and 2 is a good format. I think that works.
if we continue with Clinton's economy plan, we wouldn't have near the allies we have today. We'd probably still have communism today if it was started as soon as Reagan. We'd probably be controlled by some Russians or something by now. And yeah, Germany. And you say Reagan did nothing, but he prevented World War III. He prevented 80 million estimated lives, which is that's a huge number. That's half of the American population. and like, yeah, that's what
Going back to the budget or the spending on the Star Wars, why couldn't Reagan not spend on something that was not going to ever come true or happen? Instead, why couldn't he spend money to help make more policemen and put those on the streets to enforce more law? Because that's what Bill Clinton did. He had added over 100,000 more police officers to our streets, in which that lowered the crime rate, which was at the lowest in 26 years.
I'm letting you guys kind of self-regulate here.
So you said that the crime rate lowered, right?
It did.
The number of federal prisoners doubled. 58 were drug related. Literally, the prisons filled up when Clinton was in charge. So.
Personal opinion, I would rather have prisoners in jail because they're prisoners for a reason than out on the street. So it's kind of a good thing that there were prisoners because otherwise the crime rate would be high. And then communism was on the fall before Reagan took office.
How can you say there's a lower crime rate if there's more criminals in prisons now?
What?
How do you say there's a low crime rate when there are more prisoners in the prisons now?
Because when there's people in prison, they are not out on the streets committing crime.
So that means that there's crime rate before, so that means your crime rate is higher than what you're saying.
There's not a crime rate.
Can you give me a source?
Crime rate. The reason there is less, the reason the crime rate went down and there's more people in prison is because not everybody, the crime rate is not just like one person can do more than just one thing. You put them away, you end a lot of different other things they could have done.
Like Hayden said, they would have had to commit a crime to go to jail. So, like he said, the crime must have been going up.
And Bill Clinton took the crime rate and brought it down by putting them in prison.
Are you standing?
They would have had to commit the crime to go to prison.
Basically.
In order for the crime rate to go down, you'd have to have crime, yes. But after Clinton had passed the comprehensive anti-crime strategy, it started to scare more people into not doing crime because they know they would end up going to jail if they were caught for it.
And also with crime, Bill Clinton signed the Brady Handgun Violence Prevention Act, which required background checks for handgun purchases.
Reagan cut welfare, and then Clinton brought it back and helped people, and welfare is still helping people today.
With the gun law, every day 96 Americans are killed by guns, and because of Clinton, you need to buy a gun, you need to have a background check, and assault rifles have been banned.
You can't talk. You literally can't talk.
They could.
Reagan supported the racist apartheid government in South Africa.
Stop.
Alright. So you guys said how Clinton was like supportive of AIDS and all that at the time. Not that.
Come on, tell us. What's this about supporting AIDS?
You gotta talk. No. You gotta talk. You need points.
Go, Debbie, go. Just go. Just
Stand
back up.
That makes sense. Alright, so apparently, so he was supportive of AIDS and all that, but yet at the same time, he tried to ban guys from the military that were gay.
He did not ban guys from the military.
He said try. He said try.
Don't tell.
He tried.
Don't ask.
He tried.
Hey, is that church?
He said.
Control it.
Isabel, calm down.
Control it.
Don't tell me when you're gay.
Let me finish.
Hey, I'm gonna say something, okay? I'm gonna say something.
Let's go. I'm a little bit involved here.
So you said Bill Clinton, like, the crime rate dropped during his presidency. But
No, just wait. No.
You're not going.
Go.
Yeah.
No, go.
I love you guys.
I got stand up to me all the time. Go. Say Trey, go.
But like he committed a crime by lying under oath that he didn't have sexual relations.
Ronald Reagan negotiated with terrorists!
Hey!
No, you're not going. I'm going. You're not going.
Hey, you're out.
Back to the gays in the military part. He wanted gays in the military and it was shut down by Congress. But he still allowed them in as long as they didn't say they were.
Exactly. So that's mostly saying he
It's
did
not.
not want
He
them
was
in.
still trying to
How
let
would
them
you like
in.
it
He
if
tried.
you
He
were
got
gay or
shut down
something,
by other people.
And your president told you that, oh yeah, you can go in the military, just don't tell no one you're gay.
I would rather that than be told you can't join the military because of your sexuality.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's
just
rude.
You're in a small place with your sexual preference. I mean, that is a little uncomfortable for those people that aren't sharing those beliefs.
What they don't know doesn't hurt them.
Yeah, it's their
Time! Break! Closing statements!
That got heated real quick. Exactly.
Ronald Reagan would not even address that homosexuality existed!
Peyton's face just went blank.
Yeah.
Like, come on!
You guys want to yell?
I find it funny that.
How does that work?
I find it funny that they said that supported AIDS. No, he was just aware of it.
What?
The Cade's name, the crime thing.
Oh my god, the crime thing! Freaking let that go! If prisoners are in jail, they are not committing crime.
Exactly.
Therefore, the crime rate goes
Down.
They can actually still commit crime.
How?
well.
Shut up, Trent.
Trent, you're not part of this debate.
Personally, I would rather somebody who commits a crime sit in jail
Then be on the
than be out on the street.
We're not supposed to be arguing towards the judges.
Hey, we're not arguing with you.
Sorry, bias, Reagan. They're saying he's trying to make gays out there, but when Reagan went in office, he promised to abolish the Department of Education.
It literally said in the crash course video yesterday, he wanted to let gays in the military and it was shut down by the Republican Congress.
Yeah.
And Reagan cut
He was supporting the gays, not trying to kick them out.
Okay, Reagan, you got Dude, multiple people can speak for up to 1 minute.
No.
Trent.
That's better than let's go first. Say something.
Alright, here we go. Oh, this is gonna be quiet.
Oh no. Okay. Reagan is best known for saying, Mr. Furniture, tear down this wall or that wall. Clinton is best known for saying, if I had a Bible, I would put my hand on it. I did not have sexual relations with that woman, Mrs. Lewinsky. Some may say that was what happened behind closed doors is Clinton's own business, but when you're the president of the United States, your personal business is our business too. Reagan built up the military to what it is now. What did Clinton do? He told the men risking their lives to protect us, hey, you can't tell them that you don't like other people, that you like the same gender. Okay, do not tell them that, okay, or else you can't go. Do you know, okay, in my personal opinion, okay, we're not even gonna get it. Okay, that is worse than being turned away from a fight. He told them in his campaign promise, he promised that he would repeal the law. Did he? No. What was he doing? Well, I don't think we allow the state anymore. But we all know what he was doing. He neglected to repair Medicare. Reagan made 18 million jobs.
Ronald Reagan is the best president ever.
Time. Okay.
Exactly. 22 is greater than 18.
Okay, so Ronald Reagan, when he was elected, he promised he would never negotiate with terrorists. He did anyways, therefore the Iran-Contra affair. Bill Clinton restored the country's economic state. He put into place a lot of bills and a lot of acts that increased the country politically and socially. We cannot let Bill Clinton's reputation be tinted by a sexual assault scandal. Bill Clinton was a better president than Ronald Reagan and restored the United States to a better state. Therefore, Bill Clinton is the better president.
I'm just that.
Ronald Regan promised that he would abolish the Department of Education.
Oh yeah, Bill Clinton
Ronald
made
Reagan
22
also
million.
cut the spending for the Department of Education by 19%.
Bill Clinton made 22 million jobs.
22 is greater than 18.
Time. Judges outside the scope. You guys shake hands.
Look at the time now, right?
I'm so tired. Jeffrey, what time did you guys get home last night? What time did they get home last night? What?
Good job, bud. You too. Good job, Trent. Don't celebrate just yet, we haven't won. We might have won. We're not 100% sure. You know what? You celebrate too early. 1 point.
Okay, do you agree with like so because there's a little bit of a
Well, if anyone wants some Reagan notes, they'll be over here.
Where's your jury? I want to know if we won. I want to know if we won. I want to know if we won.
No! But like, who the fuck?
Guys, we
You did
have
good.
4 judges. They voted 2 and 2.
What?
So it's gonna come down to one final rocket for scissors.
Yes,
Not 2 out of 3. Not 2 out of 3. Do it right now.
Come on, baby, finish shoot! Come on, baby, finish shoot!
Clinton won!